can start.
Okay. Hello. It is nice for us to meet you here, and we want to ask you some questions about energy efficiency and German experience for us. So the first question is, how do you think cooperation with industrial companies can promote the development of energy systems and energy savings in Europe?
Shall I start? Yeah, I believe that like companies and the industry are the most important factor. So, because energy efficiency most of the times comes with not only financial value or financial savings, but companies can also benefit from like these indirect effects, like use it for marketing, improve customer relationships, like use it as a competitive advantage. For example, we've got a great bakery over there. They decreased their energy consumption by nearly 70%. So it's a very, very small bakery, and they are competitive on the energy level compared to that really large bakeries. So they managed to use this energy topic actually as like a competitive advantage. So, and if you go further for that, towards like environmental issues and say carbon emission savings, industries are the biggest lever. So, because they really have to make decisions, and if you are just like an individual at home, it's probably harder to have that resources.
Okay, thank you.
But except companies, I think that investors are a very important point in this energy development as well. So, if you look at Allianz, for example, they just stepped out of the coal business, or like stepped out of investing in coal projects. So this is also a very important step, because they have to invest in the right companies, who in turn then start to develop innovations in terms of energy efficiency and so on. So yeah, big important point as well.
Okay. Next question. What kind of information campaign can be developed and help to influence the shortage of energy consumption among civil society?
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the biggest problems is probably that people don't understand what energy is. You know? So if I talk to my friends or customers and so on, you really have to start to explain what is a unit of energy. What does that mean for you? What does it mean in environmental terms? So for every country and every city, one unit of energy is another form of environmental effect. So depending on how you produce that energy. And I really believe that you have to start at the very beginning in schools and in higher education, and teach the people what it means when you consume energy. So if you leave the door open in the winter, how much CO2 is that, or how many trees do you have to plant to recompensate that emission level? And I think this is one of the biggest points where society and education has to prolong.
Yeah, besides education as a soft factor, you may also need a hard factor, which is price. So if it is expensive to leave, your computer running all day, then if it's cheap to do this, then you're just gonna do this and don't stop doing it. And if it's expensive, then you maybe think twice and just shut it down for a while. So price as a hard factor is also an important point, maybe.
Okay. Marcel, we know that you run some projects in South Africa, and it is very interesting for us to know what is the most important and the most interesting parts of your project which you made in South Africa, and which experience did you gain from this?
Well, yeah, South Africa, it's actually a very, very unique example, probably, because they highly depend on coal. Nearly the whole country is powered by coal, and it's there are just a few companies really providing energy, so it's very monopolistic. What was very interesting to see, so we worked on a project where the government started to split up this monopoly, because they said, okay, we need to split up that monopoly to improve our energy supply, and it was really interesting to see how this pretty novel government in South Africa, after this development of apartheid and so on, really was trying to move a step forward and to change all the old incumbents and habits. So this was pretty interesting to see how this top-down legislation improved the country.
Okay, thank you. And what are the laws, regulations and amendments to legislation of Germany that have been made over the last 3 years regarding renewable energy?
Feed-in tariffs for private energy generation.
Yeah. So the real great law changes happened 20 years ago. So they started 20 years ago. So when Germany decided to open up the energy grid for renewable energies, and in the last 3 years they have some like novel laws that try to improve like the market structure. So how is renewable energy sold on the market? So actually before, Germany had a prioritization of renewable energy. So when you build a windmill and you produce energy, it has to go to the grid, no matter what comes. This is still the same, but they try to adjust demand and supply by implementing, you would say, market mechanisms, like give you more money when you provide the energy at the right time, for example. And this is really changing how investments are done in Germany, because before it was you build a windmill and you know for 20 years how much money you will get. And now it's pretty similar, but companies can gain extra money by looking at further supply. This is one of the biggest one, and also that Germany decided to step out of nuclear energy probably.
Okay, as the last question, what kinds of NGOs exist in Germany to protect the rights of consumers to promote smart energy use?
Good question.
Yeah, it's really good question.
Special German NGOs for this?
Yeah, there is some small companies that have a mix of like profit and non-profit structures.
Yes.
That are really innovative on making virtual power plants and so on. We have the typical ones like Greenpeace, German Watch. This is an NGO that actually just watches the environmental performance of Germany. And
WWF is international actually, but still is also very much concerned with the energy transition here in Germany.
Yeah, they are pretty prominent.
Yeah.
And they're actually cooperating with a lot of food supplier, retailer, and they are very prominent on the food market, and also like how the food is brought to Germany and so on. So like the supply chain.
Yeah, and they're also cooperating with the renewable energy providers or generators, for example, like Lichtblick, which is a Hamburg-based energy provider of renewable energy, and they're cooperating with the WWF.
Okay, thank you so much.
Welcome.